Okay, raise your left hand if you like YAML. Raise your right hand if you hate YAML. Raise your both hands if you love and hate YAML. That's me. So I'm advocating to not use it anymore because that works for my use case. I was just talking to Bo, who's a really interesting guy, has very interesting ideas. You should go to his presentation later today. He's like, well, it works for my very narrow use case. So I'm at Cloudflare, where we have a much different use case. My backstory is I started at SaltStack a long time ago. I asked them, hey, what's with our DSL? And they're like, users can invent their own DSL. The number one rule about if you're making a config management tool is if you don't define the DSL, your users will define it for you. So at Cloudflare, we have a big complex environment. We have a lot of sources of authoritative information that happen in production. That's very challenging because if you have a JET-style config management system, it's going to reflect in your configs too. So obviously I didn't rehearse this. How do you shift that left into CI or dev or whatever integration environment you have? You got to stub all that crap out. Not fun, very painful. Or you need to do something even worse, which is like spin containers, sidecars. It gets very complex, very fast, very painful. No one likes working with that. So I'm going to argue that config management is the last stage of this thing that I call change management. So config management is happening in production, but we need a lot of stuff before we even get to that point. And we want this pathway to be automated, but because users can't see what their configs are until it hits production, they need to go there in some cases, say, I have this very complex service, I need to test it, I need to make sure nothing wrong happens. So if your configs only manifest in production, your configs are not mediated by your CD. It's a CD theater. Your users can't test or iterate outside of production. Therefore, your changes are either slow or dangerous, or both. So Salt is very flexible. It has a very difficult learning curve. So your users, even though they're smart engineers, they don't want to learn Salt, and I don't blame them. So you get copy pasta, or you get abstractions for the people who really love complicated things. So what we really want is we want to give the users ability to test their changes in Dev or CI. We want them to have configs that they can trust will manifest in production correctly. We want to do this without increasing the complexity of the automated delivery pipeline. So the complexity there is like a measure of the size of the pillar, how much pre-processing you need to do, get your high state together. So we want to move the config left, I guess this way. We're moving from the minions to CI, isn't that like we're going anti-scalable here? But the goal is, can we do this? Can we only move the stuff that's common? Like minions it's like IKEA. You get your box full of stuff, and every minion is assembling their own couch. Can we just assemble one couch and then clone it? Yeah, we found we didn't need the full Cartesian product of the systems and configs. They were doing the same thing in a lot of cases. So change management should be mediating the changes from these other sources of authoritative information anyway. They don't even have a well-defined pathway yet, at least in our use case. Yeah, so we're going to try to do that. Last year, I learned about Q, and I felt like an absolute idiot for not doing a simple web search. Hey, is there a config management language besides Jinja-YAML? Typing, grammar, you learn from all the stupid things that you did in Jinja-YAML. It's safer for human consumption. You can plug into auditing and compliance. It's very important for us at Cloudflare. And 15 seconds. Integrating, yeah, so we need to, this is a new project for us. We're working on it now. Basically everything hasn't been done yet. So This is kind of like a bill of what we're going to do. Joe and Menno are here today. You should check them out. Thanks.